7 architectural design principles that every architect must know. Creativity is the signature. When mentioning architectural design, they have to deal with creative aspects. But there are common architectural design principles that make the most out of the building. Honestly, some cases architects do not follow all of them when creating a piece of architecture. 7 principles encompass an interesting design. Number 1, emphasis, balance, movement, rhythm, contrast, unity. Number 7, proportion and scale. Balance, one of the first architectural design principles. Balance is the art of mixing all classifications of visual weights, colors, textures, and objects to generate a sense of stability. Parts of the design are evenly dispersed. Some tips for using balance principles. Always keep in mind that every element you place on a page has a certain amount of weight. Color, size, and texture can all contribute to weight. You can't cram all your weighty elements into one section of your composition, just like you would when place all your furniture in one corner of a home. Your audience will feel as if their eye is sliding off the page. If there is no balance, there is both bodily and visual balance. It's divided into five types: symmetric or formal balance in regard to a center line or axis. All of the elements in the design are identical, equally weighted pieces located on either side of a center line generate balance in symmetric design. As asymmetrical or informal balance in general of the design, it's not really identical, but it is in visual weight. Radial balance, from the center design components radiate outward. Vertical balance, the top and bottom pieces are both the same size. Horizontal balance, both the left and right sides have equal parts. Rhythm, the second architectural design principles in terms of using line, shape, color, texture, or pattern on a regular basis is our rhythm. Types of rhythm. Regular rhythm, we repeat each element at the same repetition and the interval. Random rhythm, we make elements random or at irregular intervals. Graduated rhythm, except for one aspect that progressively increases or decreases with each repetition. The repeating element in identical. Emphasis, the third architectural design principles. The focus point of a design is the aspect that draws the eye to it. Size, placement, shape, color, and the use of lines can all be used to emphasize something. Proportion and scale, the fourth architectural design principles. In terms of scale, the relationship between elements in a design are compared. The golden mean is a 3:5 proportion. Visual movement, the fifth architectural design principles. When a person looks at an architecture, whether it is the exterior or interior of the building, there will be a certain movement pattern that catches their eyes. And Fabian's architecture is a building where its visual movement is clear and people looking at it know where it is the impulsive parts. If architects can master the rest of architectural design principles, this principle visual movement will come along. Contrast, the sixth architectural design principles. The key here is to make it noticeably different. It will be boring for a building without contrast, so do some contrast to make it more attractive. For instance, black contrasts sharply against white. Not only colors, you can also do contrast with proportion and scale or shape. Unity, the seventh architectural design principles. Unity is accomplished through the consistent use of lines, colors, material, and texture within A design in terms of texture, it is one of the architectural design principles that make a design stand out. A good building not only has a good visual beauty but also should have a good experience in touch. Emphasizing on texture, make it rock or smooth, also helps your architecture less laggy and less boring. Some special architectural design principles from famous architecture in the world. As mentioned, architects do not follow basic architectural design principles all the time. This is when creativity of each architect come along and make their work unique, bending the rules. These architectural design principles are the terms you hear from the design of a skyscraper, China's central television headquarters in Beijing, China. Being unique, one of the special architectural design principles in terms of getting noticed. The iconic building Sydney Opera House is a typical example. The city's de facto logo, building an architecture that does not harm the surrounding environment. This is a simple architectural design principle. Architecture always enters an existing context and as a result has an impact on that environment. For example, through energy use, these concerns have been prioritized by some of the best architects of the last century. A combination of modern and fast, old and new, one of the distinct architectural design principles. Anyone who has worked in branding will be familiar with the challenge of establishing something new while maintaining continuity with or even coexisting with the previous system. This challenge might take on a literal meaning in architecture. Follow your principles. Modernism is noted for developing structures that are intellectually sound rather than aesthetically pleasing.